Hello my lovely viewers of the World Wide Web, and welcome to the TheJackedex show, and may I also welcome you to the indie title extravaganza, where I basically take a look at indie titles, a little bit like a marathon I guess you could say, but it's just with indie titles, and it's the kind of games that either I have been interested in looking at, or ones that I have been recommended by friends, or by you guys, and I just decide to take a look, see if they need a little bit of exposure, or to just put myself in the bit of the fire, you know, throw myself out there into unfamiliar territory and see if I enjoy something that I probably wouldn't have if I didn't give it a go. So with all of that said, we're going to be tackling one of the biggest indie titles of 2017 with Cuphead. Now I know I might be a little late covering this game, but that's mostly because I didn't want to be swept up by the masses of other people who have been playing this game for months back when it came out and circulated on the internet. I don't want to be one of those people that happens to get popular on the internet just because I play something that's trendy or hip, just so I can get some kind of exposure. I'd rather it be if my content was actually good, and if people actually wanted to listen to whatever I have to say, that it be the reason that I'm still relevant. That kind of expands to the kind of games I look at as well, and that I want to talk about. And today, Cuphead is one of those lucky few indie titles that I actually wanted to talk about today. Now I'll be completely honest, I've never heard of this game until it actually started gaining traction on YouTube and amongst friends. I remember hearing about it and thinking, really? That's the name of the big indie game at this moment? Sounds like a meme waiting to circulate and die in the span of a few months. Then I saw my brother playing it one day, and instantly, I was drawn in by the visual design. The 1930s cartoon aesthetic that reminded me of Popeye, Woody Woodpecker, Mighty Mouse, Mickey Mouse, and some of the old Looney Tunes. This looked so friggin' cool. To think that an art style reminiscent of bargain bin cartoon DVDs that me and my brother got for Christmases would actually take the world by storm was so intriguing to me that it actually took me a while to get into. And as someone who doesn't play a lot of run and gun shooters outside of maybe Mega Man X, I was actually quite hooked onto this one. Everything from its simple design to, again, its nostalgic 1930s art style, to the way that this game really wants to kick your ass and hang your testicles by an anchor is anything but an understatement. You guys have all heard the stories before. Cuphead is one of the most toughest games out there for run and gun shooter, and it is liable to kick your butt. Which is why I'm going to bring in my brother for this video today, and ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce him right now. Ruben, please come in. You want to say a couple of words?
Yeah, I'll say one or two things about Cuphead. It's a good game. I like it. It's fun. Had to carry him.
Right. Yeah, he had to carry me. Let me tell you for free. You ready to play the game?
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right.
Sounds
cool.
Blue.
Let's begin.
I like it.
Our story begins on the peaceful Inkwell Isle. Cuphead and his pal Mugman play and frolic in the sun all day under the eye of the watchful elder Kettle, but one day they decide to stray from his heedful warnings after stumbling across a casino where it's apparently run by the fucking devil. I guess even satanic beings need a way to make money by preying on the souls of the greedy. And unfortunately, Cuphead is too quick a gambler to bet his chances of easy riches into a game of dice, which unfortunately lands both he and his brother in a mess of trouble. The devil, however, sees this as an opportunity to use the unfortunate mugs as leverage to retrieve the souls of his previous employees. Yeah, apparently he can hold down a casino without God noticing in the real world, but a tight firm grip on damn souls is apparently a gosh darn tricky as heck feat to perform. So, with no time to lose, the two brothers set out on a journey to pretty much just beat the hell out of any resident that has ties to the devil, whether it be Veggies, a Dragon Quest homage, a Street Fighter homage, a Final Fantasy homage, you get the picture. And that's it for story, pretty cut and dry, but I'm good with a simple motive in this instance because a lot of the charm from this game is based around its simplicity and laid-back character designs. Very creative, very fun to look at, and I imagine very damn hard to animate by hand. Yeah, all these characters are hand-drawn, and as someone who is looking to do animation as a hobby, maybe even as a job at some point, I have to really give credit to the guys who spent God knows how many hours it took to animate all of these. I mean, they had to auction their goddamn house to even finish this game, I mean, Jesus Christ. But how about that gameplay? And I'll give it to everyone pretty straight. It may be designed as a platformer with shooting mechanics, run and gun segments, all of that. This is a straight-up bossathon game. You put your skills to the test amongst the many different foes you encounter, using a variety of weapons to your advantages that you buy from the shop in order to take these guys out. Basically just through pattern reading and good timing. If you've played games like Mega Man X where a lot of the robot masters have a pattern that you can follow and time to shoot back at, you'll feel right at home here. The difference here is how much you can prioritize. See, Cuphead also works on a ranking system that determines what you did during a battle, how much health you maintained, or if you managed to build up your super meter. For starters, let's talk about the parry system. Anytime during a boss battle, whether it be a projectile, a stray object, or even the enemy's attack is coloured pink, by jumping and pressing the jump button again, you can parry against said object to power up your super meter. When your super meter reaches maximum, depending on the supers you can obtain by completing mausoleums that require a fuck ton of parrying, you can unleash a super twisty blaster, gain invulnerability for a short time, or generate a ghostly double that, when in contact with an enemy, pretty much just buff damages them to oblivion. If you happen to be playing the 2-player mode, which me and my brother started off doing, if either of you manages to die, there is a chance for the other player to revive their comrade. Die too much though, and it gets harder to revive that person. With the weaponry, it's a matter of what you buy and how you mix and match your output to try and take the bosses out effectively as possible. For starters, you have the basic finger gun, which acts as a pea shooter with normal damage, the chaser, which is good for lock-on shots, at a cost of measly damage. You have the spreader, which works really well in up-close scenarios or for crowd control in exchange for minimal range. The roundabout can be used to attack enemies from behind if any stray shots don't hit their target, or in the case of the Captain Briny Beard boss, I just use it to try and get this motherfucker without taking pot shots from his stupid ass boat, squid, and barrel. The charge shot only really works if you really time this thing. As the name suggests, the damage increases the longer you charge. It's no mega shot, but it's something, I guess. Then we have the lobber, which is basically just a bouncy ball that I only really had for one use against them sea dogs and the Captain Brinybeard boss, and the Grim Matchstick boss. Maybe I'm missing something with this weapon, but I typically don't try to use this weapon unless the boss is designed to be around the bottom or if I can fire from the top. So the other thing I have to really cover is the bosses themselves, and from beginning to end, these are very creatively designed and thought out bosses. Sometimes you'll fight only one of them, sometimes there's different phases or groups of bosses that work with individual attacks, and then there's just assholes who work on RNG elements. It's not that they're unbeatable, but it does require a ton of trial and error and a lease of luck to really get by these guys. I'm sure there's effective strategies and weapon combinations I'm probably not trying, and honestly, I do love the idea of mixing and matching the weapons. It gives an incentive to try them all out and see what you can do. Can't be said for the special abilities you get though. Going back to the shop again, you can purchase certain upgrades or buffs to your arsenal that will grant you extra health. A one-time use of auto parrying, but if I'm going to be completely honest, you'll want to use the smoke dash. It bypasses enemy attacks, you can dodge easier, and it's ultimately me and my brother's go-to ability. But yeah, I do love fighting these guys. If only for the awesome music, creative designs of the characters, or just the few times where me and Ruben would take turns strategizing our attack patterns, switching up our weapons, calling out the attack of the friggin' tugboat. And despite the frustrations we had, it was a great achievement to relay situations, call out attacks, and give each other advice about a situation. Now, when I went back to record this solo, you can tell which of us is clearly the better fighter. I got my ass handed to me playing against the Toe Brothers on extreme difficulty, and usually I'm the kind of person who likes to go for the ultimate ranks in games that like to test your skill, but I think I had my fair share when we finally beat the devil and finished the game together. Overall, I did have a wonderful time with this game. I understand why so many people enjoy it outside of its cartoony aesthetic and somewhat nostalgic feeling. Remove those elements though, what you have is an interesting bossathon game that may tend to get a bit ridiculous toward the end game with some of the bosses before King dies, but its character, charm, excellent design and weaponry and abilities more than make up for it. If you've yet to try this game out, I say give it a shot. Support Studio MDHR for their hard work, and maybe keep an eye out for their big sequel. Or maybe another game entirely, who knows? Once again, a big thank you to Ruben for helping me out on this playthrough. It has been tough, it has been hard as balls, but you know what, I had a good time with it. You certainly had a good time with it, didn't you?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I mean,
time.
not to put words in your mouth or anything, but...
These are my words.
Anything you want to add for the end of the review?
Not really much. I hate the airplane levels, and that's pretty much the only thing I have to say.
Yeah. But it was cool, no. Being able to relay strategies and all that was actually kind of cool, huh?
Yeah, I beat King Dice first try.
Yeah, no, he's really good. You can tell, like I said at the review, you can tell which one of us is the better fighter.
In this review, yes. We didn't record this like a couple of seconds apart.
No, no, but again, thanks for joining me, and yeah, I'll bring you in for another co-op video game indie title whenever, if that happens.
Alright, see ya.
Yeah, see ya. Bye. And until next time, we were going to be taking a look at a hat in time for next week, or maybe in a couple of weeks. I'm going to be quite busy at uni for a couple of weeks. Busy. Until next time, take care of yourselves, have a good evening, and as always, stay awesome, lovely viewers. See you all next time.
Don't have time to mess around, and I hope you will agree. Bring me those contracts pronto! Don't you mess with me. Don't mess with King's eyes. Don't mess with me.